Hi, good morning. This is Dayton Maxwell with Cornell Cooperative Extension, Farm Business Management Educator with the CAAHP team. For some reason this morning, I've been thinking about these old commercials that I used to watch on TV in the 1980s for the Isuzu motor vehicle company, and the guy advertising was Joe Isuzu. And my intention is that I do not come across like that guy. So if you get a chance, get on YouTube and watch some Joe Isuzu commercials. They're quite entertaining. But other than that, today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 C's of credit. And the reason I'm talking to you about that is because I know a lot of businesses are really struggling right now with the way the economy is and the things that have happened recently in the economy. And the PPP program is coming on board and it's run out of funding. And we think that when the dust settles, that businesses, all businesses, even including agricultural businesses, are going to have to go to their lender to get some money. And for some of you, this is probably a routine and you know what to do. And for others, you may not know what to do. So my writing this week in my video, and by the way, I'm going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. So if you can hang with me for at least 10, I dare you to hang with me. You might like it. See if you can. If you can stay with me, this is designed to help you prepare for that meeting with the lender as you're going forward with your business. All right, so 5 C's of credit, and these are in what I would call priority order and what most lenders would call priority order. There's a handful of lenders that might switch them around a little bit, but in general, these are in priority of how a lender will look at your request for a loan situation. All right, the first C is character. And if you're looking at Joe Isuzu on the internet, on YouTube, he's a character and you probably don't want to lend that guy any money. But with regard to character, what a lender looks at is the core of that is your credit history and your credit score. I think most of you know that. And it is what it is. I mean, that's the thing. Some other things that might go into character is your reputation in the business community, how you keep your farmstead, whether you keep it clean, and in general, whether you're known as a person of high integrity or not. So it's character is an all-encompassing thing. And basically character, from a lending standpoint, a lender thinks that if this person is of high character, they have a good credit score, good reputation, they have a good feeling in the community for how they conduct business, they'll pay you back, right? So that's character. Okay, all right, that's the one. But the base of it is the credit score. It is what it is. I know some lenders will look at if your credit score is there's a low spot in it. Why did it happen? Was it something beyond your control? And obviously this virus situation in the planet is something beyond your control. So a lender may understand if that influences your credit score. Okay, character. Let's move on. Again, in priority order according to me and most lenders. Number 2 is capacity. And capacity is essentially the ability to repay the loan. All right, the ability to repay the loan. And what a lender will look for and they'll ask you for in the lending process is historical records of income and expense, which demonstrate the amount of earnings that you bring in your business and the expenses associated with that. Capacity always has to come over the life cycle of a business. The ability to repay always has to come from earnings, which means income that you generate through sales of a product, good, or service. Okay, always has to come from that. All right. When you think about capacity, not only do you have to repay the loan that the lender is thinking about giving you, but any loans that you may already have existing. A lender's going to look at family living draws that you have to take out of the business. A lender's going to look at any accounts payable that you might have to catch up on, so those will have to be caught up on. A lender may also look at reinvesting capital in the business as part of the ability to repay. All right. So, so number one is character. Number two is, can you pay back the loan? Lender's going to ask you for 3 years of tax returns at minimum. They're going to ask you for a current year income and expense for 2020, and they're going to ask you to have a plan for how you're going to repay the loan. So a projection year plan too, they're going to ask you for that. So tax returns, current year income and 3 years tax returns, current year income and expenses, and a projection year income and expenses. And also ask you for historical production information to see what you're producing and your trends in production. All right. Ability to repay. And the biggest thing that you have to remember is that ability to repay over time has to come from earnings. Profits from the business have to repay. So the business has to create a positive margin over time. All right. I hope I did a good job explaining that one, but repay through income generation. That's the thing. And the lender's going to look to see if you can do that based on historical information. All right. Got a little sidetracked, kind of like Joe Souza right there, but I'm coming back. Third one, capital. When we think of capital, we think about the total asset investment in the business, or essentially the assets that you use to generate income. So this could be land, it could be buildings, it could be inventories, it could be equipment, things like that. All right. All the assets are invested in the business, and we think about the accounting equation with regard to the balance sheet. So assets equals liabilities plus net worth. And we think about, with capital, what's left after we account for the bank's portion of the business. And that's called owner's equity. So when capacity becomes very limited, or there's not enough earnings to repay everybody, what a lender will look for is there enough capital in the business that I can do a refinancing, something like that. Okay, so the lender's going to want you to have a certain equity position. It depends on the lender. They're going to want you to have some skin in the game. They're going to want you to enter the lending relationship with skin in the game and having some equity, owner's equity in the business. Okay, and what happens over time is that when capacity is limited, we see capital or the balance sheet, owner's equity, start to erode due to poor earnings. So, and conversely, when earnings are really good, we see owner's equity grow in the business. So a lender's going to want you to have a pretty good capital position or owner's equity position going into the lending relationship, and the lender can tell you more about that. So you can leverage that equity and they can extend some credit to you. And we're at 8 minutes and 24 seconds. We might go a little bit over 10, right? This is cool, right? Okay, so stay with me. I don't know if you noticed, I have a balloon this week. I have some flowers this week. And I also have my faithful whiteboard. And if things get really good, I think I'm going to take it outside and do some outside lecturing. So you have that to look forward to. So you may want to come back. All right. Character, capacity, capital, and collateral. And if I back up to capital, one of the things that the lender's going to ask you for is a current balance sheet. Assets and liabilities, date specific. Okay? So that's for capital. And if we move on to collateral, I would presume that most of you know what collateral is. Collateral is the age-old thing that if for some reason the loan gets to a point where you're not able to repay, the lender can go in and grab up the collateral and liquidate the collateral and pay the loan. All right, so if you are thinking about collateral, lenders will take, obviously land is one that's, a mortgage on land is one that's very common. They may take collateral, livestock, equipment, greenhouses, fixtures like that, anything that they can liquidate to turn into cash and pay the loan off in the event that the situation is gotten to that point. By the way, lenders don't want to own your stuff. I have people generally get a little grouchy with me and they say, we're at 10 minutes, stay with me, you got this, you can do it. Just think about Joe Isuzu, right? You can check him out after the end of the thing. Lenders would like to take $1.50 of collateral for $1 of loan funds. And everybody says, hey, that's a lot. But the reason is by the time a lending situation gets that far, the collateral is usually worth less than it was when the loan started because it's usually worn out. So that's why lenders like to have $1.50 collateral for each $1 of loan funds, right? Okay. We're doing good. We're going to go a little over 10 minutes, but that's okay. You got this. You can stay with me. Happy Friday. The last C is conditions. And conditions are things that kind of hold the loan package together and ensure that there might be some, ensure that the customer is able to repay the lender. All right, ensure that. And conditions are kind of the intangibles or the tangibles that hold the thing together. Some very common conditions that you'll run into in a lending situation is the lender wants you to have insurance on the items that are taken as collateral. The lender will require that you submit financials, tax returns, income statement, balance sheet in a timely manner, and things like that. Those are just common conditions. If you are required by the state or the federal government to have an environmental plan, the lender was going to want you to do that. All right, no problem. We're probably going to go almost 15, so but you're doing good. Thanks for staying with me. It's getting better every week, right? Yeah, I hope so. Those are conditions, and some lenders may say, hey, you have to have a checking account and a savings account with us too. They might do that as a condition. Okay. Overall, so in priority order, the 5 C's of credit: character, capacity, capital, collateral. I'm looking and reading back and forth. So collateral and conditions. And the biggest thing I would encourage you to do is be very prepared when you go to that lender and prepared with a plan for repayment. Because the last thing a lender wants is for you to just come in there and say, I need some money. They want you to be prepared with a plan on how you're going to repay. And that will make things go a lot better and help the lender have an informed decision. All right, so that's it. If you are working on a loan application to do some refinancing due to this current situation, please give me a call. It'd be my pleasure to work with you and go from there. So have a good weekend. As always, it's my pleasure to serve you. And go on YouTube and check out Joe Isuzu. That guy is funny. All right. Have a good weekend.